Hi everyone, it's Emily from Raven Relics. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another flip through for you, as always. Before I dive right into this little gem of a tome, I just want to say that last weekend I was a vendor at the Rockport Makers Festival, as I mentioned in my last video that I would be doing. And it was the best show I've ever done, the best market I've ever been a part of. Everything was beautiful and it was incredibly successful. I arrived with 18 journals and left with only 4, and then got another sale the very next day. So I currently only have 3 books in my Etsy shop, which is fantastic and also kind of frightening because I like having a full shop. But anyway, I'm just so grateful and still kind of processing how well it went for everyone, including myself. So very grateful, very happy. This will be the first book of the new year to go into my shop and the first book post Makers Market. So let's dive right into it. I cannot wait to share it with you. So excited. Okay, so as you can probably tell, I did not make these covers other than deconstructing the book that they came from so that I could use the covers, as my own. These are real antique covers from 1855, so very old. I will take off the black sari silk ribbon closure. And just like with the last Celtic book that I did, I looped a skeleton key right through the sari silk ribbon, so it's just part of the closure. Here's a closer look at the covers. Front cover has almost no wear and tear at all. Back cover is identical. You can see if I hold it in the right light, maybe kind of sort of. Right down here there's a little bit of bubbling, but it's all contained within this square. And considering that these covers are from 1855, having just a little bit of bubbling down here is pretty amazing. These covers are beautiful. All right, so I have used Irish linen thread as always for the Coptic stitch spine. I did use the larger thickness of thread, just like in the last video that I made. I discussed that. I will be using a thicker thread, still Irish linen, but a thicker dimension of it from now on because I just love that thick, chunky look. This is a chunky book. It is over 300 pages, front and back, semi-blank, but considering that it's over 300 pages front and back, that means there's still a good amount of stuff in here. So let's get right into it. All right, black velvet bookmark, square or straight at the top, cut diagonally at the bottom. So I'll take all the fun stuff out of the pocket. You can admire the beautiful tile green end papers. The theme for this book is basically, it's very broad. It was 1400s/1500s. In my mind, that's pretty much all I was thinking of was that time period, late Middle Ages. So, all right, I'll just quickly go through the journaling cards, all of them distressed by hand, by myself, with Tim Holtz Distress ink. This is one of 2 yellow envelopes I made, which actually were the end papers of the book that the covers are from. So the aging on these yellow pieces of paper is 100% real. I just turned them into little envelopes. I have several, hang on, I have a piece of hair in my mouth. There we go. Okay, several Nick the Booksmith journaling cards from her Sir Isaac Newton journaling kit that I am officially obsessed with. Little medieval journaling card, and last but not least, our first of many Durer, that's D-U-R-E-R, illustrations. Durer, which I'm going to have to probably pronounce extra clear on camera. He was a Gothic illustrator, one of the best of all time ever. I don't know why I haven't used his illustrations in my books before, because they're literally perfect. Most of them, like this one right here, I turned just into pages, but this one in particular, I wanted to make a journaling card. I just love it. I can't handle it. Oh my gosh. Okay. First page, we have, like I said, another Durer illustration of a beautiful lady. A little bit of a burn mark up there at the top. Digital stamp of some wine glasses or goblets, I guess. Like I said, this book is over 300 pages front and back, so I'm going to try to go quickly through the pages that don't have anything on them. Chandelier stamp by Empire Line Stamp at the top. I have a lot of pages in here that are just flip pages, or like folded up. Call them flip outs, I don't know. And in this one, I actually put the first page of the book that the covers are from. So you can see 1855. I absolutely had to keep this page, and I guess it would be like the title page. And obviously wanted to keep it and put it in this very book. We have a griffin with a key coming out of a crown down at the bottom. Another little flip out, fold out. And then this I ripped a corner off, glued up here and at the bottom. So this just makes a nice big side pocket and a beautiful bookmark slash tag inside. Faded corner stamp up there at the top. Now you may or may not be noticing something different about the paper. Maybe, maybe not. This is one of my favorite pages or spreads, just real quick. I made a tuck spot out of this circular astrology image. I have many, many of these little astrological circles, just slowly working my way through them. Made it a tuck spot and put another Nick the Booksmith Sir Isaac Newton card right in there. And then another Durer illustration. So as I was saying, maybe, maybe not, you might be noticing something a little different about the paper. With this text block, I actually used tea. Yes, tea instead of coffee to dye the paper. Why? I felt like it. I truly just felt like it. I wanted to experiment. I have used tea a long, long, long time ago, but it was when I was using the oven to dry the papers instead of letting them air dry. I wanted to see if air drying with tea would produce a different result. And it didn't really. It was exactly the same as oven drying it. Real quick, here is another little flip with another one of those envelopes, and inside I put this little fleur-de-lis charm. A lot of the times in the past I have put the charms right onto the paper clips myself, but what I've found is that with paper clips, especially charms, especially like charms like these ones that have, it's kind of hard to see, but they have like sticky outy bits. If I put them on the paper clip and then close the book, eventually there'll be like little holes or dots in the paper where it's pressing. I just don't like it. If you don't care about little dots on your pages, then you can go ahead and put that charm right on the paper clip. But I don't know, it's just my preference, but I still want to include charms because I love them so much. So they're either going to have to be like hanging on things that stick out of the book, or I'll just put them in a hidden spot like the envelope, like I just did here. Snake, arrows, and crown stamp, also by Empire Line Designs. So many Empire Line Design stamps, as always. So anyway, yes, I used tea, not coffee. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorites. Hang on. Just, oh, look at that. Beautiful Dürer illustration. So anyway, the difference between coffee and tea is extremely slight. The only difference really, old letter paper, is that tea gives the paper more of a yellow undertone, whereas coffee gives it more of a brown undertone. Personally, I prefer the brown. It worked out with this book because I feel like the tea-dyed paper, just having that yellow tint, works with the theme of this book and what I was going for. Raven on a Branch stamp. But I will be sticking to coffee. I just prefer the brown. I don't know, it's just my thing. But they're fundamentally almost exactly the same. You can get the same kind of stains. Again, it's just the slight tone difference. Pretty journal card, and then a big tag. Griffin stamp, and tucked in here is just a big piece of tea-dyed paper. I almost said coffee. Tea-dyed paper that I just folded into a thick envelope. Pumpkins down at the bottom there. Big fold-out page, and then a beautiful brown French, almost kind of like a French country style frame. And the paper clipped over here is another page from the book that the covers are from. This was also one of the first few pages. Maybe this was actually one of the end papers. I honestly can't remember. So all of that aging is real. You can see different handwriting throughout the ages, throughout the years. There's several different dates. We have what I assume is 1873, 1859, 1802, but that looks like it was written well after 1802. Just kind of cool. Real history on the paper. I can't remember which way I initially had it. I think it was this way. I'm being super fussy. All right, good enough. One thing I did notice actually with the tea-dyed paper, and maybe it was just because, I don't know why, but the paper feels a little bit rougher. It's not actually rough, but just compared to when I use coffee, there's more of a texture. The coffee dyed paper usually comes out just smooth and creamy and delicious and just delightful. This is just has a little bit more graininess to it. It's just slight, but it's there. It's a difference. I can't handle how much I love this key stamp. Oh my gosh. Brings me so much joy. Another Dürer illustration. This is one of two illustrations I used where he was basically creating concept art for goblets or wine glasses. Burn mark. This is a big old gray map that I just paper clipped to the page. Lined paper that I sewed right into the center of the signature. A rip. This is not a burn mark, but just a rip. I want to start doing that more often too. Not only using, you know, burn marks and different sized pieces of paper for the layering effect, but also just ripping pieces of paper in certain areas. Going for that grungy look. Shield stamp up the top, and then this is a tag journal card, whatever you want to do with it, call it. Oh yes, love this image. Palmistry image. I don't know what that says. It's not in English, but it's super cool. And clearly there's some astrology symbolism as well. Another Empire Line stamp, hand pointing to the sun. Some graph paper. This is a Dürer painting portrait, and it's either his wife or his mother. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the two main ladies in his life. I love this painting. Now in the center of this signature, I folded up this old woodcut map that I've used many, many times and will continue to use many, many times. I'm obsessed. And on these folded parts, I just glued these medieval banner shapes to the top, and I only glued them here at the top, so you could use them as a tuck spot if you wanted to. Here's another flip with just a big, pretty damask style tag or bookmark. More ledger graph paper. Very faintly pressed, this snake wrapped around a coil stamp. I go back and forth, honestly, and I'd be curious to know what you think. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just my preference, you know, what I choose to do, but I go back and forth between really liking faintly pressed stamps and liking, I guess you'd say, like normally pressed, more full of ink, you know, a darker look as opposed to that faded look. I go back and forth between which one I like more, and I suppose it just depends on the book and the look that I'm going for in general. But I don't know. I mean, if you are somebody who makes vintage looking books or even just vintage looking things, do you prefer to also lightly stamp your stamps in the hopes of creating a faded aged effect, or do you just full blown, you know, all the ink like normal? I really like both. I don't know, honestly. Here's that other Dürer illustration of a goblet concept design. Pretty funky for, you know, 1400 or whatever it was. Oh my gosh, this, yes. This is arguably my favorite image in the whole book. Look at how awesome this dude is. I just can't handle it. I love it so much. Whatever world this is the world I want to live in. More graph paper. And this is Dürer, by the way, I should say. When in doubt, it's Dürer. In this book, I used a lot of his illustrations. Other side, here's another very lightly pressed stamp of a ship. I think that looks really good. And here is a haphazardly folded map of Switzerland. And yes, I intentionally folded it in such a way to make it look like whoever folded it in this fantasy world was just quickly doing it and didn't care. Just like I said in my last video, I am going a little bit more for the contained mess look. Just a little bit messier. Big burn mark. Beautiful border stamp. And that is that. Here's my stamp. More of that beautiful green tile end paper and the nameplate, which I have used this one time before in the journal that had also antique covers, which sold at the Maker's Market last weekend. Okay, that's it, you guys. So this is another chunky monkey little book. I am obsessed with it. I'm so excited. Oh, I love it. So this will be going in my Etsy shop very soon. Can't say exactly when, now that I have puppies in my life. I don't even know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. However, I have already taken all the listing photos for this book. I just need to get them, you know, up and going. So I should have this listed in my Etsy shop within the next few days. I mean, tomorrow's Christmas. What am I saying? Tomorrow is Christmas. It might be a couple days before it's in my shop, but it'll be soon, I promise. And I will always let you guys know on Instagram. All the links for Instagram, Facebook, website, Patreon, all that is in the description box down below. And I think that's it, guys. I'm already working on the next book, so that will soon follow this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for your support and all that stuff. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon in the next one. All right, guys. Bye.